Welcome everyone to Buying Local. I'm your host, Mike Nelson from Five Towers Media, joined by friend, client, owner of, well, you're a lot of things, but we'll start out by introducing you as the owner of Fierro's Pizza here in Greenfield Center. If you're not familiar with Fierro's, they are located on Route 9 in the Stewart's Plaza, although we affectionately call it the DTGC.
The DTGC, what is that?
Downtown Greenfield Center.
Oh, I love it.
This is the downtown happening area. We've got Fierro's Pizza, and we've got a liquor store, and we've got Stewart's. We now have a dispensary.
So one-stop shop.
A one-stop shop, and then there's some masonry offices down there as well. So like you could get a foundation for your house, grab some pizza, some booze, and some edibles or whatever you're into for that. So
what more do you need, right?
Well, yeah, it's all the essentials. If the world ends, just stop here on your way home. So
the DTGC.
DTGC, yeah, that's what we call it.
We'll make that on our next T-shirt round. We'll put it on the back.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, just go to DTGC. Zach, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Zach, maybe just kind of give people the rundown, if they don't know you, they're not familiar with you, of kind of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so who I am, a little bit of background. I'm a culinary student, culinary graduate, CAA guy. For many years now, I've been in kitchens, and I moved upstate about 15 years ago to run a restaurant group, and throughout that I found Greenfield Center and absolutely fell in love with the town, and my wife and I bought a house here, and then this became our local pizzeria. And so once that happened and I got some wind that they might be looking to retire, I'm like, hey, if you guys are ever interested, let me know. And then about a month and a half later, we wound up buying a pizzeria. And,
oh, wow.
And it happened really fast and furious.
That's amazing. And it just started because you were just like, hey, if this ever happens, let us know.
That's literally all I was sitting at the counter over there and, having a slice, waiting for the pizza to take home. Don't tell my wife I have a slice before I take the pizza home, by the way. And we got talking about it, and the owner's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, let's talk. And, and then it worked out. And Mike and Maureen, who previously owned the place, are amazing people. And, they stayed on for quite a long time, Maureen especially, and, helped us and transition everything and get it to where it needed to be, and, help expand the business and do more. So we've been doing that for the last few years, and it's been amazing. And, we turned that into, a wood-fired catering segment as well. So now we have that with the pizza trailers also, and, doing private events. So we've kind of expanded that. And because of my background with the culinary arts and being a chef, we've taken it to more than just pizza with the catering side as well. Yeah. So we do a lot more of that. I mean, soup to nuts for, birthday parties, weddings, any kind of an event you can imagine. So it's a lot of fun. So it's a blast.
I'm sure it keeps you busy.
It sure does. Absolutely.
And for our listeners, we are actually on location here at Fierro's, and so if you can hear some folks doing some work in the background, that's what that shuffling around is, and because the show must go on, right?
That's it. Getting those pizzas ready.
Getting those pizzas ready. I got to tell you, I mean, I love the pizza here. It's really nice to have the pizzeria this close to our house. Probably not great for my waistline sometimes. But,
dangerous, right?
Dangerous. That's correct.
I call it R&D, my friend.
Oh, yes. You gotta do some R&D. That taco pizza.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Holy moly, that is more than nice. That is something.
Yeah, it's a treat.
I feel like I consider myself a bit of a connoisseur of pizza. There's two foods that I have a really hard time saying no to, and it's pizza and nachos, and I eat both of them more than I should.
But you kind of have both when you get the taco pizza, because you get a little nacho.
I know, that's why I love it, man. It's got the jalapenos, it's crunchy, it's so good, man. So I want to unpack a lot of the stuff that you talked about as far as like the things that you're doing here. I also just want to ask, just because we do have business owners that listen to the podcast, and I'm always interested in learning about what that transition looks like, right, when you buy a business from someone. And we should mention, right, that you're not like an owner absentee. I mean, you are here a lot. I see you behind the counter sometimes. So it's not like you bought the business and then just kind of let it run itself. But What was that transition like?
Yeah, so, a couple great points, right? So, I'll touch on the last thing you said first. Yes, buying the business and, being here is a big part of that, right? I'm not here for every shift. I do have a full-time job outside of this as well, but I'm here as much as I possibly can be. I'm here every day, at least some point in the day, though, I will say that. And on every event that we have. So any catering event and stuff that we do, I'm on. So, so as far as the transition of the business goes, at first, it's difficult because, you're following, other people's, paths that they have and trying to, fill their shoes, right? And do that. And like I said, Mike and Maureen did such a great job here over the years. And we wanted to respect and honor what they've done and, maintain consistency in the dough and the sauce, right? Like those are two things we haven't changed over the years. With our regular pizzas, we've maintained the same dough, same sauce. We've offered different styles and different types of pizzas and kind of expanded what we offer now. But, over the first 6 months to a year, you kind of find your way and, you kind of, try to find where you can and can't push the envelope with new items and, what makes sense. And the last thing you want to do is piss anybody off and have them be like, hey, you don't have this pizza anymore, And so, we try to make sure that we make everybody happy with that and, do the best that we can with it. So,
yeah. And I was wondering about that because, obviously Greenfield Center, small town, right? And in small towns, we kind of get to be a little tribe, so to speak, a little tribal. So did you see like any kind of like pushback or fallout from customers when the transition was happening?
I think we saw a little bit of it at first, but, this is going back, a few years now at any rate. And, we saw a little bit of it at first, but then after time went on, people, were like, okay, hey, this isn't just some random, Joe Blow in here.
Zach's
like,
not a
the
bad
guy lives
guy.
around the corner, there's family, they're all in the community. And,
because you live in Greenfield, right?
We do, yeah. We're only, 5 minutes away. So, so once people see that, I think that's great. Listen, there's some things that they used to do here that we don't do anymore. We got away from, like some of the cold sandwiches and stuff, and that was for the purpose of really focusing all of our efforts on making the best pizzas we can possibly make, and then the other items that we have as well for sandwiches and entrees and stuff. But, we got away from like the cold sub side, so that was one that, people were like, oh, you don't do cold subs anymore. We stayed away from that just because it's not a big part of our business. And if we're not going to focus on that, I'd rather do specific things at the highest level that we can do them and then, cut out those other items. So.
And I mean, Stewart's is 3 doors down and they do offer cold sandwiches, right? So it's like, you're kind of stealing from each other a little bit and on that cold sandwich front. So it's not like people can't still get a cold sandwich if they want.
Yeah, no, come down here for a slice and a sandwich. Have them both. That's it. So, that's it.
So when you were looking at, how did you make the decisions to like make the menu changes that you made? Was that based off of like sellers data? Like, did you,
a lot of it was kind of just based on my gut, right? And, just trying some different things and experimenting, right? Like we'll use the slice window that we have, where we put up, 20 something slice pies a day where, we're like, hey, let's try this idea, or if one of the staff members has, an idea, I'm like, hey, I was thinking about a pizza. I want to put something together. I'm like, great, make a slice pie, make a couple of them. Let's see how they sell, right? Let's get customer feedback. If we make something, we'll, cut pieces of it and let people try it. Regulars that come in all the time and, we'll check with them and they kind of direct us, on that front to, what will and won't make the menu. If you look at our menu now from our specialty pizza selection, I'd say probably 80% of those specialty pizzas have come from, customers' feedback and trying them.
So you're kind of test driving them with that window and 100%. Seeing what works and what doesn't work. Yeah,
exactly.
It's smart.
And we've had some winners and we've had some losers. Let me tell you.
What's a big loser?
Well, there's a guy who works for us. I'm not going to mention him by name, but he might be standing over there. But he has a constant need to put cucumbers on a pizza, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, don't put cucumbers on a pizza. Yeah, not in a good way.
Are we talking about your dad?
We are. It's Brian. I'm not gonna lie. So it's Brian. I mean, only on if you were to finish a tzatziki style pizza or Greek pizza, maybe then you could put some diced cucumbers on the end. But, So there's been a couple weird ones like that.
I've never had cucumbers on a pizza, but I am willing to try almost anything on a pizza. I used to be a big anchovy fan on pizzas years ago.
We still sell a fair amount of anchovy pizzas. To be honest with you, I know it's a thing of the past in a lot of places, but we still sell a ton of them. Honestly. So.
Yeah. You really don't see it very often anymore, but I used to love them. The only thing I didn't like about the anchovies was the little hairs.
Yeah.
That was the only turn off.
They're never really super clean, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things you just can't look. You just have to
You just have to eat it. Absolutely. Absolutely. But they really do offer a really interesting and good flavor profile to the pizza.
Yeah,
so.
no, they do. It's a nice salty kick.
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
Crazy combinations with pizzas. We get them all the time. But if we got the toppings, we'll put it together. So whatever anyone wants, we'll always do.
Yeah.
We have some people that, sometimes we'll bring ingredients that we don't have. Like, hey, can you put this on a pizza? And we're always happy to help. So.
So we're sitting in the dining area because you guys have dine-in, always have. Dine-in and walk-in is what it was previously. And then you guys added some delivery services.
We do, yeah. So we have two different delivery platforms. We use Melio and we use DoorDash for delivery. So you can go right online, get the link right off of our Facebook. But it's those two platforms, and they'll deliver, I think, within a 15-mile radius or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less if you're heading further north. But.
And so what, there's obviously they don't do just pizza, and there's a lot of area restaurants that use them. Some don't. Was it helpful?
Yes, yeah. Honestly, it's our dining in and our takeout business has remained constant, but this has been an influx of business that we've had by offering the third party deliveries over the last few years. That's off the rip. It was a winner for us.
It was a winner right away.
Yeah, 100%. So we started with Melio first, and then we added DoorDash later on, and both of them reach a different target audience. So it's great. I mean, we're able to sell pizzas to customers downtown, and and they don't have to worry about it.
Downtown Saratoga.
Yeah, oh yeah. The delivery runs down.
Oh, wild! I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it runs all the way to the other side of Wilton too. So so with that footprint of the DoorDash delivery, we're able to get a little bit further out.
So that's some reach. I didn't realize that you went that far out there, or that other side of Wilton.
Yeah, we couldn't handle it. We wanted to do delivery in house, but it's tough. I mean, staffing, everybody's up against it with trying to have that, and last thing we want to do is let someone down and not have the driver on hand to be able to deliver. So using these other companies, it works really well for us.
Yeah, so. It seems like they've got a really good model, and it's really been adopted by the public at this point. So
100%.
So. One of the many things that COVID did for businesses. It's funny because almost every podcast we still are talking about COVID a little bit, just from the changes that it enacted in our businesses. But a lot of the changes ended up being good in the long run.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things you can take away from it. I mean, I think one of the biggest things is the ability to adjust, right? And whoever has ran a business through COVID has had to adjust and adapt and make these changes on the fly, and we have certainly done it, and as have many others also. But I think we've taken some great things out of it as well. So
so, God, I hate when I say Whenever I listen to my own podcast, I'm like, there's 59 of the day. So you buy the business. Now, were they doing catering before you bought it, or was that a new thing that you added?
So they had catering with you could buy half pans or something, or full pans and stuff like that, but no offsite catering or anything at all. And so we've expanded with the offsite through the pizza trailers and and the wood-fired function. So,
and is it primarily through the trailers and the wood-fired, or do you do other catering as well?
We do other catering as well. So we work with a couple of or many different, medical rep suppliers and stuff like that do luncheons and catering things like that with, full pans, half pans, pizzas to go, salads to go, so we do that as well. This time of year now with the spring and summer upon us, it's really all about that wood-fired pizza trailer, getting that thing out there. It's a blast. So.
Yeah. And with the catering, do you supply sternos and shaping dishes, or are you just giving them the pans? And
either way, whatever they want to do, we build it custom for every event. So whatever they need, we're able to do soup to nuts. So.
Nice. And are there any kind of limitations on it? Can you do 500 people or 50 people, or?
Yeah, you can do anything in between or more, no problem. We've catered events up to 2,500 people. So
wow.
Yeah, it's no problem for sure.
Okay.
We'd love to expand past that. So if anyone has any 2,600 person parties, let us know.
I got to tell you, you mentioned earlier that you have a full-time job outside of this. And I've said it to you, you're one of the hardest working people I've ever met. There's a couple people I know, my buddy Derek Foster from Daigle Cleaning System. I always tell people he's just a freaking machine, and I think that I work hard, and then I see you two, and I'm like, geez, these guys are making me look like a slacker, and you guys are just up there for with all the things that you do. Because I look at it, and I'm like, okay, so you got your full time job that you're working easily 40 hours a week. I would imagine it's probably more than that.
Yep.
And then you've got the restaurant here at Fierro's, and then you've got the catering side and the pizza trailers, which almost I feel like the trailers almost you have to look at them like a separate business almost, just because of what it entails. And I see you at events at the trail. Like, I don't know how you do it all, man. It's wild.
It's a lot, but, I mean, like people say, and I'll butcher the exact saying, but, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, right?
Yeah.
Like everything I do, from my day job to, what I do here and the catering and stuff like that, it's all food centric, and, I love food, I mean, it's in my blood, as much as it's, it's a lot and it's taxing, and, and it's always constant, you're involved with it. I love it. I love every minute of it. So.
I grew up in the restaurant business, spent the first, I don't know, probably 10 years of my professional life in restaurants, both in the back of the house and the front of the house. And so I can speak to the fact that I don't know what it is about the restaurant business, but it's stressful, but it's like addicting. Like, it's hard to get away from it and not get pulled back in. Like, even years later, after I got out of the hospitality industry, really, and I was working in, the quote unquote business arena, I missed it. And I was like, man, maybe I'll go get a job just tending bar once, or just to get back into it a little bit. It's I don't know,
it's
something
fun.
about it.
It is. It's fun.
It is fun.
And even the problems that come up, right? Like you mentioned, it's stressful, right?
Yeah.
Like, things are always happening and you're constantly having to adapt. But, I mean, certain people love that, right? Like I do, it's like, oh, this went wrong. Okay, well, what can I do to fix it,
Yeah.
right? And, that's kind of one of those things that you can, really gravitate towards if you're that type of an individual. So,
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is basically you want to pick up some pizza shifts. Is that what you're saying?
No, sir. No, sir. I have been so far removed from the restaurant business that I no longer have that itch. But
all you need is a little taste.
Just a little
spin
taste.
a couple doughs.
Man, work for pizza. Yeah, it's funny. No, I'm good. But thank you very much. So, well, it's funny too, because you're talking about like problem solving aspect of it, and that kind of like makes it fun. I literally just did a podcast yesterday for our other show, Blue Collar Startup, with Derek Foster, the machine. And one of the things that we were talking about was that, like, really in business, like every business and everyone in that business is solving some sort of problem for someone, right? Like the problem that Fierro solves is people are hungry and they want pizza. So you solve that problem, right? And then inside that process, there's all these other things that can go wrong and sometimes do. And you've got to and that is the thing that makes it fun and exciting, right? Like, if we didn't have problems to solve, like, be bored.
Yeah, you're right.
What the hell would we do?
100%.
So it's always interesting when, talking with business owners and they're commiserating or complaining about, it's like, well, that's kind of what makes it fun, right? Like, you get to, after you solve that problem, you get to stand back and be like, yeah, I overcame that challenge. But
yeah, and you can look on that, for years to come too.
Yeah.
Learn from that stuff. So,
yeah, and build and build and build. So I'm 72 of the show. So let's talk about the pizza trailers, because I don't think we've had the conversation, but you're already busy as hell, working a full-time job. You're a great dad. You've got kids. You got a family. You know what I mean? Like, you've got the restaurant, and then you're like, hey, I'm going to do some wood-fired pizzas because I don't have any, because I have too much free time on my hands. What actually got you into doing the first trailer that you bought last year?
So it's been this is our third, third year now. Yeah. So it's been our third year with it now. So, what actually prompted it for me, is just I love pizza in general, and I love that style of pizza too. So we created a hybrid dough that's kind of a cross between a New York style and a Neapolitan. So it remains, crispy still. Like, a lot of Neapolitans don't have that crisp because of the high hydration like that. So we created a dough that gives you the best of both worlds. And you're cooking in, 2 minutes in a wood fire oven, at 800 degrees. And so
2 minutes?
2 minutes.
That's really how long it takes?
Yeah, about 2 minutes. Yeah.
I had no idea. That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, you can go even quicker on it if you went higher on the temp. But, 2 minutes is kind of like the sweet spot for us. If you're doing a lot of pizzas, it might take like 2.5 minutes or something like that if the deck cools down a little bit. But,
okay.
I really started doing it because it's like, okay, we've exhausted certain styles here in the shop, right? We do a New York style, we do a Sicilian style, we do some cool rolls and pinwheels and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, what else could we do, And so just keep trying to, create and grow in the business. And so we found a really great segment with the the pizza trailer and the wood-fired pizzas in general. And and then we took that and we did wood-fired catering. So we've got a great menu for any wood-fired options. It's not just pizza. I mean, pizza is at the center of what we do, of course, but there's so much more that can come from it. I mean, bacon wrapped dates that are wood-fired, stuff with goat cheese, cool stuff. So
damn it, with the I really got to go through some speaking training. The wood-fired pizzas are phenomenal. I don't even know how to explain it compared to a normal pizza that's already delicious. Who knew you could make it better? But I really do love those pizzas, and I love the fact that every time I'm at a damn event, whether it's a bike race or a farmer's market, I just see you everywhere. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're out there with them a lot. It's a different style dough entirely, and the way that you digest that dough is different, right? So you can go and you can eat, one of those pizzas, a 12-inch wood-fired pizza, and you'll feel as full. And, because it's already gone through such a fermentation process so that when your body digests it, it makes it a little easier. So I'm telling you, you can go out and you can get a couple of those pizzas if you want.
Slam them.
And you can have a body like this. So,
Oh, man. I didn't realize that there was that. So the fermentation process, I mean, obviously, everybody knows you make dough, right? There's some yeast in there and it rises and all that fun stuff. But the fermentation process, does that because you make the dough ahead of time and then it's going to sit for 24? How does that work?
Yeah, so you make the dough, depending on the dough that you're doing, right? You'll make the dough and you'll let it sit for a period of time out at room temperature. And then you'll put it into the refrigerator and you'll retard the dough. So you'll slow the process of the fermentation. It'll still be fermenting, but it'll slow the process a bit. So with our wood-fired dough, we leave it out for a longer duration to be able to, really increase that growth and, the gluten development inside the dough.
Yeah.
So it almost likens, it's not a sourdough, but it almost likens the
that.
process, in a sourdough style when you have that. Again, it's not a sourdough, and people will be like, hey, it's not sourdough. It's not. But, you have kind of a similar process. And so when you do that, the longer you wait, the more flavor that dough is going to develop, as it sits, outside at room temperature or in the cooler at room temperature. We make for the wood-fired dough, we use it about 3.5 days is really our prime time for that dough with the aging, right?
So there's a process that goes
Oh
into
my gosh, yeah, it's a process, yeah. And it took us a long time to be able to get there and really nail that down.
Yeah.
It didn't happen overnight. We went through and, figured out all the factors that we needed to change and adapt with and stuff. And, we've gotten to a great point now. We're really happy with it. So.
Which is why you bought a second trailer.
That's it. Yeah. And we're rolling. So never stopping.
So how did you figure out how to be in two places at once?
Well, it's great staff, right? You have to have a great staff. So, we want to get to a point where, we were saying no to too many people. So it's okay, hey, how do we, help alleviate that problem? Because, 90% of our events are on the weekend, right? So, people were like, hey, listen, I need you, but I need you on a Saturday, at 5 o'clock. It's geez, we're already somewhere Saturday at 5 o'clock. What else can we do? So an area of opportunity for us is to do events more midweek. And so we've been doing more with businesses as well, and it's a great tool for us to bring into, local businesses that are trying to do team building events, or, just lunches or, anything like that for the staff and stuff. So we've been doing a lot more of that, which is great too. So
that's fun. So the events, you're doing weddings, obviously.
Yep.
Rehearsal dinners?
Weddings, rehearsal dinners, a day after brunches, birthday parties, graduations, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs. I mean, listen, you have an event, we will make pizzas for you.
You will bring a trailer there.
Can I tell you how many 1-year-old birthday parties we've gone to at this?
Oh, really?
Listen, obviously, it's nothing about the kid. The parents are like,
do the 1-year-olds eat the pizza?
Of course not. Some of them might have some crusts, but, it's fun. Listen, pizza is fun. I'll go back to what I said before. It's if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And it's every time I'm on the pizza trailer, and I'm doing an event, I'm like, man, this is great. I'm outside cooking pizza. Who's not happy to get a great hot slice of pizza?
Are you now? Are you a social guy? Because you seem very outgoing at the events.
I am. I'm very social for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that part comes ezy.
That part comes really easy for me. Yeah.
You're not an introvert that's secretly in pain while you're being very charming and very outgoing.
No, not at all. No, I love that part of it.
Yeah.
But it's the fun part. Honestly.
Yeah.
And in the restaurant business, for many years, having been a chef for many years, you're in the kitchen, right? And you don't get to be out with the customers as much, right? So, it's a nice change of pace to be able to interact so much on a daily basis like that.
Yeah. And the idea of that morning after the wedding, like if you got a wild wedding, what's going to be better for that hangover than a bunch of wood-fired pizza?
God. And the breakfast pizza? I think we've had the breakfast pizza before.
I don't know if I've had so many of the pizzas now at this point because we've had them at different events. Like I said, like you were at the Bat and Kill race a couple years ago when we did that. I've seen you at farmers markets. We had you were at Six Marketing's Christmas party a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? Like I've had so many pizzas now at this point. I don't even know what I haven't had. But
I'm telling you, the breakfast pizza after a night on the town, we do bacon. We do local maple from Twin Lee Farms.
Oh, nice.
Which is cool. We do cheddar cheese, eggs, scallions. It's awesome.
And it's on one pizza.
Yeah, just on a pizza.
My God,
it's
it
awesome.
sounds amazing.
So, yeah, it's great.
Wow, it's like talking to a junkie about what their fix is. You know,
yeah,
like,
you're itching a lot.
I totally start looking like whatever that comedian is, Dave Chappelle. We used to do those skits. So I know we're trying to keep it short, but anything I'm missing about what you got going on here about the wood-fired pizzas?
I think that's really it on the wood-fired side. I mean, really, it's just any event that's out there. It's like, where doesn't pizza enhance? We mentioned weddings, and like, even if it's not the main focus of what you're doing, it could be that late night thing, and we pull up and we do that all the time too.
Yeah,
you have like that after your dinner, 9-10 o'clock thing, everyone's still partying, but you're not done partying. And it's like, all right, hey, let's have a pizza trailer pop through. And so
I actually went to a wedding that did that, and it was probably one of the first times I saw it where they had like the formal dinner, and then the reception started, and everybody started having some drinks, and then the fire was getting ready to get lit, and that was when they rolled out. And it wasn't wood-fired pizza; it was something else. But I was like, ooh, that's a smart idea to like bring another food thing out after,
Yeah, who wants the party to be done, right?
Yeah,
so you guys are hanging still,
soak up some of that booze so you can have a little bit more and stay up a little longer.
100%, that's it. So.
Zach, if people want to learn more about Fierro's, about the wood-fired pizza, about the catering, how do they find you guys?
Yeah, so fierrospizza.com is our website, and then we are also on Facebook, so they can reach out that way. If they have any particular questions, of course, they can pull up the menus right on the website as well, but shoot an email, info@fierrospizza.com, and we'll be happy to get back in touch.
That's awesome. I appreciate you taking some time out in your busy schedule. I know to spend some time with us and our viewers and listeners. So
I'm happy to do it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Of course, you can find this podcast and other podcasts on Spotify, Apple, Rumble, and YouTube. And, of course, big shout out to our community partners that make all this possible. Appreciate what you do and your support. And thanks, everybody, of course, for listening and viewing. Without you, we really don't have a reason to do the show. So thanks, everybody, and you'll hear from us next week.